on Twitter at twitter.com/achieveradio.
Hi, I'm Anne Marie, and you are listening and watching Achieve Spiritual, Holistic, and Self-Improvement Radio, and my show is called Tarot Joy. 2 weeks of the month, I have miscellaneous topics concerning readings and spirituality, and on the 3rd week of the month, I have Annie's Angels, which is a guest. Sometimes those guests are recorded and then played on Achieve. And when that happens, it's an amazing vacation for me. But last wonderful interview was with Viki Znavor, and she has written a very wonderful book. That book was called Authenticity Reawakened. And when I look at the recording after the show, I realized that it did not go through. So today I'm going to speak on this wonderful person and her wonderful book, and just the fact that I had morning Saturday coffee with her, and it was just a very cool and enlightening show. And why was it so cool and enlightening? Well, you know, as a psychic advisor, once in a while I find myself sputtering and wordless, and a truly spiritual person coming into my life. And why was she so spiritual? Well, I guess because Vicki brought up all of the topics that I realized how much I had given my authentic self to the people that formed me. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, Vicki points out that as we grow up and as we are developing, it's either our parents or our friends telling us what our greatest talents and gifts are. But maybe our dream was totally different. Vicki pointed out to me that oftentimes, because we don't want to cause a rift, we may start to do what others want us to do. We may start to excel in what other people feel is our talents and gifts. Let's say, for instance, Vicki pointed out, you are and this was an example she gave. A beautiful woman wants to be a tax advisor, but all while she is growing up, she is told that she should be a model, or she should put herself in a situation of commercials or acting. So those are the directions she goes. Well, all the time she's thinking, really what I'd love to be is a tax advisor. She gave her authentic self, her authentic dreams away in order to be able to please family and friends. How about this situation? Let's say you go into a work dynamic, and you know how work is. There's always the power people that have seniority, There's the people that are too shy to say their piece. And there's the people that go along with our people because they know that if they do, that they will be respected by everyone. The problem is that you're giving your power away. You're giving your authentic self away. Let's say you go into a work situation and you don't realize that a power person is coming off in a friendly way and asking you all about yourself. And you don't know anybody at this job and you think, what a wonderful person. So you start yakking and you tell them all about your life and the divorce or the children that got busted for drugs or whatever. And the next thing you know, that person is going to, that person, that person, and that person telling them everything that you said. You have officially created a reputation for yourself. Now, some people may empathize with you and say, oh, honey, and other people may be snooty. But the main thing is that when you're in a work dynamic, you have to buck up. What do I mean, buck up? And I'm talking BUCK. Buck up means stand up for yourself. Never, never, never go into a work situation and spill your guts without knowing the people you're contending with. And I don't care if they're the most friendly people in the world. If you're talking about the kids being busted and the husband drinking and the divorce impending or the whatever, you need to realize that you are officially leaving yourself wide open to be slandered. And understanding that this is why less is more. When you are being your authentic self, Vicki says, there are certain rules of engagement. It's just like going into war or going into um, a situation where you have to engage in a certain way to be able to come out ahead. For instance, Vicky's authenticity basics were say what you mean and mean what you say. Don't lie. Know your audience before you start messing around by giving personal information away. If you have a problem with a boss, describe your problem clearly. Watch your language. Words matter. Right? We have already found out how that works. Words matter. And even though you may be funky and you may think that you're being cool by spilling out four-letter words, watch your language. It dumps your status about tenfold. Be deliberate when presenting yourself. Don't come off like, well, I just don't know, but I'm not very good at this. No, don't do that. Stand up for yourself. Be confident. You are the only person that is diplomatically personifying who you are. So by deliberately and presenting yourself with authentic you, you're going to be seen as who you are, and there'll be no mistakes. No one's going to misinterpret an act or a facade. Share personal information thoughtfully. Do not share information pell-mell. You know what? No one needs to know your business. No one needs to understand when you're going into a new situation or a volatile situation what your life is. No one has to. But If you feel that being a good person is being honest, you don't have to be honest by letting everybody know your business. Share personal information thoughtfully, but don't gossip. If you have someone, have you ever met this kind of person? Comes into the scene, wants to know for someone else what you think of them, and before long you're saying, well, I just da 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 da, and you're being honest, and then boom, they go off to someone else and they tell them what you think of them. If they're a power person, you might as well quit. You might as well get out of there because you have officially put yourself under the tire tracks. So admit to your mistakes. And so today I'm admitting to you my mistake in having a wonderful, wonderful interview, recorded interview with Viki Znavor about this wonderful topic. Now, one of the things Vicki wanted to let me know was there are two ways to react to criticism. Which are you? Vicki speaks on how the authentic self takes criticism, sarcastic slams against our dreams and goals can lead to us deciding that maybe our dreams and goals weren't right for us after all. Really? Because we let somebody else slam us? Because we let somebody else's snide, sarcastic self slam our dreams and goals? That doesn't mean that they're not perfect for us. But some people will take one no as more powerful than seven yeses. So Vicki points out to me in this, and I've seen myself do this 1,000 times. And you know what is the greatest offender? Facebook. Give it a like. Give it a low like. You know, if you're living on likes, if you're living on reviews, you're going to think that your whole self-worth is based on a social network. Be careful of that. Because Vicki points out that when she slammed, she gave an example. She went to somebody in a high power position of authority in a financial job and said, I'd really like to be a tax advisor. And they laughed and they said, you'll never be one. Never. And she was kind of taken back. And she says, well, give me the steps on how to be one. Oh, forget it. She'll never be one. Well, for Vicki, that inspired her to prove that person wrong, to be passionate, that she could learn and get a degree and certify and be that person, that dream, that goal she wanted to be. She did not allow someone else's slam, someone else's sarcasm to identify who she is. So are you doing that? This book identifies two reactions to criticism. One is the person who will give up all their dreams and goals based on what friends, family, or work colleagues tell them. The other person is the one that rams into it. I'm going to prove you wrong, and makes the very criticism the passion and the inspiration for being all they can be. So, what happens, let's say you're in a terrible relationship or a terrible work relationship? When is it time to let go? Or are you the kind of person that because afraid of fear or conflict stays eternally with abuse or with something that's going to stagnate your life, take you off your course, and slowly but surely darken the screen on your dreams and goals. Here are Vicky's steps on letting go. Listen to the whispers in your mind. Those whispers, those thoughts, this is making me unhappy. This is making me very sad. I need to try something different. I need to move on. Exercise discipline every day. I'll tell you one thing I've learned in reading for people, that when I read for people on their work situation, they usually lead their romances and love life in exactly the same way. If they're game busters at work, they're going to speak up for themselves in a relationship. If they let people step on them at work, they're going to let people step on them in a relationship. You have to exercise the discipline of standing up for yourself, being authentically awakened every day. Your values, Vicki says, are your North Star. What do you believe in? How do you believe you should be treated? What are your goals for the hard perseverance and work that you put into things? Are you getting it? And if not, is it time to let go? Is it time to move on? Watch your ego. Boy, that's a big one. You know, ego, I have a delightful, wonderful, lovely friend who told me the difference between a Midwesterner and a New Yorker is a New Yorker can take a small little thing in their life and blow it up this big and talk about it like it's the best damn thing that ever happened in life. Where a Midwesterner may say, well, this thing happened to me and maybe you don't want to listen, but no, it's all about attitude, isn't it? So your values are your North Star, despite whether you're a New Yorker or whether you're a Midwesterner or born in the West or the East or the South or the North or laid back Californian. It doesn't matter, because what you believe in, you have to stand up for yourself and follow it like a North Star. Face your fears. What are your fears? Oh my gosh, we all have fears. I'm going to tell you one of my biggest fears. As an empath, or am I using that as an excuse? As an empath, I easily feel the energy of crowds. And it can just like ride on me like a piggyback shell. When I drive in big cities, instead of zoning that out, I watch the faces. I'm still reading. I'm reading the person over there that's pissed at their wife, the person over there that just got fired, the person over there that's happy, but I'm still reading everybody in the big cities, and it just boggles me. And I have a terrible time driving in big cities. It's my biggest fear. I could do anything else. I can walk up to a neighbor, I can walk up to a person and tell them what I think diplomatically. But get me in a car and drive in a big city, I'm scared to death. So what are your fears? You know, Vicki points out that inside each of our fears is a gift, because we have to go back into time and ask them and ask ourselves, where did they come from? Where did they stem from? I'm always flabbergasted because my mother was a gypsy traveler. She could climb in a car. She was an executive. She could drive in a car and go anywhere and love every minute of it. And only when she got old did she stop doing that. But the one thing that my mother always told my three sisters and I, God, be careful when you're in a car. You could wreck so easily. Mothers and fathers, what are you telling your children? Remember, you may be creating some kind of weird dynamic that they will carry through life. I used to dream about myself in a car going down the road, and I'd be like, "Arr, arr," and I could never stay on the road. And it was my mother's voice saying, God, be careful. You'll know you'll probably get in a car wreck. So be careful of what your parental voices, your sisters and brothers, or your work colleagues, or the people in your family are saying. You may carry those voices for life. They may create fears that you never meant to control your life. How about be a light for others? Being your best self authentically not only causes you to feel more confident, it makes your aura and light about this big. When someone is introverted, their light becomes this big and they become very small. It isn't something you see as much as you feel. Or some people do see auras, but a very shy, introverted, scared person, their aura becomes so closed that you can barely even figure out why you're feeling that way, why you feel closed up with them, and you kind of just want to run down the road, and you know they feel the same way. So be a light for others by being authentic, by being confident, by being proud of who you are. Your light gets big and people enjoy talking to you. They become curious about you. Know that you are good enough, Vicki says. You don't have to be like that person and that person. Uh-uh. Maybe that person runs 10 miles a day and all you can do is think, oh man, I'm just letting myself go. And you smoke twice as many cigarettes and you find yourself becoming lethargic. Not because you were going to be that way naturally, but you're comparing yourself to somebody you admire. Again, two different ways to take criticism. Yourself is your worst critique, right? hmm So let's say you know all this stuff now and you've got it down. And I do encourage you to read Vicky's book. And again, if you go to my blog, it is listed there. I have it's sold at Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and Target. And it is a book that will help you to be all you can be, authentically awakened, finding that real you so that you do not allow others to create you. And here's the thing. I said to Vicki, and this was not in her book, you know, Vicki, we are in different stages of our life. When we're young, our, on, our authenticity is one way. She pointed out all through life she thought she was ugly when she was young. And now that she's in middle ages, she realizes she was beautiful. But she was comparing herself to all the beautiful women. So the main thing is you're authentic. What is it when someone is young? What is their authenticity? I think when people are young, Vicki said this, They're rehearsing. They're rehearsing how to be what they want to be. They're practicing ways to act, ways to talk, ways that they want to be, skill sets they want to go into. When you go into middle ages, your authenticity, your authentic self is walking in its glory. You may not feel like you're as beautiful as you were now that you realize you were beautiful, but you realize you may not be as amazingly gorgeous or popular as you were when you were younger, but you are now seasoned in your skill sets. And you can walk in your glory knowing you're the best damn nurse, the best damn doctor, the best damn garbage collector, the best damn at whatever you're doing. You can walk in your glory. And what about when you're a senior? Wow, this is when it gets touchy. Fear of change happens. This happens to all seniors. It's when suddenly we become afraid to get out of our comfort zone. We think that if we try something new or get better at a computer or we learn how or we actually start to exercise more or we do things that will help us look more beautiful, we are afraid that somehow it's not going to work out. Failure. We're going to be foolish. We're going to be seen as amateur. So what? Be a senior and be awesome and learn how to change. Learn how to go with the flow. It isn't just a young person's world. I know they get all the glamour, but you know what? We live in a generation where some of our greatest leaders have been seniors. And we know that it's time for young blood to step up to the platform. But you know what? If anything, we've proven seniors can do anything. And we just have to believe in ourselves. That's right. So everyone's path is different. Everyone's. And how do we know this? Because you have to express your feelings thoughtfully, diplomatically. Learn how to say the hard things in soft ways. Being authentic. And I always tell you guys how important it is to take your bitch pill. It is important, but taking your bitch pill does not mean being a mean person. It just means learning to say no. I don't want to. When somebody keeps asking you for more money or your kid keeps leeching off you or whatever, it's okay to say no once in a while. Show empathy. You know, one of the things I brought up to Vicki is that I wrote a book on the Sarah Moses. Sarah Moses to me is the executive or the power person or the person who is really getting good at what they do. And they reach a point in their job where all the young people want their job because they know they're getting ready to retire. You don't have to be afraid. You pick one of those people and you mentor them. Be somebody that can not be afraid that you're going to be bowled over like some kind of reindeer in the pack or buffalo in the pack. Yeah, the young people are always going to want the older buck's job, the older person's authority. That's okay. That's the way of life. Now it's time to be a soft warrior. So be able to learn to say no more often, but also be thoughtful about workplace people. Just because they want your job, just because you're ready to retire, doesn't mean you have to hold on desperately by the skin of your teeth, acting like you hate the world and it's bitter and it's against you. No, don't do that. Express yourself with confidence. Mentor the person you pick to take your job and be able to say things softly. Say the harsh things softly. Most of all, love yourself. Vicki says through this book that being authentic in these stages of the maiden, mother, and crone, and it's as much for guys too, just remember you are beautiful. You are awesome in your authentic self. Don't let other people change you. Don't let other people make you bitter. And don't think that because you're now a senior that you're getting run over by the tires. No. You can pick who you want to mentor. You can pick who you want to take your place. But let go gracefully, not frantically by the skin of your teeth. All right? Yeah, you can do that. I believe it. All right, guys. So, one of the things I wanted to talk about was last week, I so much wanted to show you how to clear energy. I was going to light a bundle. I was going to take my stone bowl and show you how I light it. Ta-da! I have my stone bowl today. And guess what? I also got in the mail from the shaman market. This is called a feather fan. And I just got it today and I haven't opened it yet. And a feather fan is used when you're clearing your space. I'm doing this with sage. I'm opening it for the first time. And here is my feather fan, my feather wand. You will be lighting your sage in a shell, abalone shell, and you, or as I do some with oftentimes, if I'm doing readings, psychics, readers, if you're doing a reading for people and you want to make sure the energy stays clear, you can burn sage in the middle of the table and you can light it and you can kind of sweep the energy into the air before, after, and during your reading. So again, this is called a sage fan, and it's for when you're clearing the space in your house, your workplace, during a reading, in a garden. It just is awesome. These are turkey feathers, and this is made by the shaman. Um, oh, I forget what it's called. Um, it's called by the shaman's market. And I love it. I think I love it because it's so earthy. This is, I'm not sure what kind of wood this is. These are turkey feathers, and they just are going to send that sage. Sage, white sage, is the best for clearing, and it is just something that you will be able to do. I'm going to show you what I do when I want to clear. Okay, so right now I have a bowl. Careful not to light my hair on fire. You're going to light it. A lot of people use bundles. I'm using I'm using loose leaf sage, which I purchased from a Lakota Dakota tribe, and they sold me half a pound of white sage that they blessed. So you're lighting it, you're blowing on it, and you're going to take your feather fan, and you're going to sweep, sweep where you want the smoke to go to. And you're going to say, and please know you don't have to say this aloud, just like you don't have to pray aloud. Energy knows what you are saying. And you're going to say, I ask that all negative spirit and all negative energy that is not for my better good, leave. And you say that over and over. You can also say prayers um, that you have grown up with. But remember, whether you say them aloud or whether you say them to yourself, it still has the same effect. So, just as the Bible says, you don't have to pray in a public place to be holy and to show your love for God. You can also pray alone. And the same goes for clearing energy. You can say to yourself, or you can say aloud, I ask for all negative energy, all spirit that is not of peace and love to leave. You will do this preferably from a abalone shell because it's light. Put that over there. And you're going to go through the doorways. I ask for all energy that is negative and that is not of my power, of not of beauty, peace, and harmony to leave. Leave. You'll go into the closets. You'll go into the corners. You'll go around misfunctioning computers or iPads or phones or whatever, and you'll do this. And again, having an abalone shell is light, and when you use your feather fan, which I got from the shaman market, you're going to sweep it to whatever north, south, east, west, whatever direction that you want. And this is my radio room. This is my reading room. So on occasion, I need to purge it. So that's what I did today. All right. So I wanted to um, let everybody know that my name is Anne Marie. You can purchase a reading from me at thecallingoflight.com. And you would go also um, to if you want to purchase a reading here, or not purchase, but get a free reading, which is what this show is about. You can have a free reading at my radio show. And why is that a big deal? Well, because I'm a professional reader. I've been reading since the 70s at coffee houses, gift boutiques, and personal sessions. And in 2001, I quit my day job as a single mom and I purchased my studio, Marie's Safe Haven. At my studio, I had it actually refurbished. I paid $9,000 for a little um, tiny house that was across from my own personal home. And when I was able to have an unemployed girlfriend who excelled in construction fix it up, it was so cute, and it's still cute. And at that point, I could do phone readings for Keen, phone readings for Best Psychics Directory. I also did my own personal readings. My website is called thecallingoflight.com. The Calling. That's where you can purchase a personal reading with me for 15 minutes for $30 or half an hour for 60. I also do email readings, and email readings are 4 questions for $50. And I ask you not to give me a lot of information, just a name, and I will read on the, excuse me, the energy of that name. The sage is starting to smoke me out. Read on the name, and then I will look at things like what are their thoughts and concerns right now? What is it that they most want in their life in 2021? What is it that they need most from those around them? And then I give them a life path reading. What is a life path reading? My favorite deck, and this is my favorite deck, and it is called the Shaman Oracle deck, and it was written by two women. The cards are stunningly beautiful. It looks like this. It's called Mystical Shaman Oracle. And with it comes a book. And the book, this is something that you may, after a reading, if you're a reader, you may want to just shuffle and pull out one card that will depict their journey for the next 12 months. And the artwork is stunning. I mean, I'll give you an example. Um, Here's one called The Circle. Uh, there's another card, um, The Rainmaker. Isn't that beautiful? How about the rainbow? Every card. I mean, this happens so seldom. The Earth Keeper, um, the Middle World, uh, the Corn. I like the Corn Woman. The Corn. As we know, Native Americans held great store on corn. And, there are other cards that, this is the one that actually was pulled on for me, Earth. My signature card pulled by another spiritualist was Earth. So you pull out the card, you'd shuffle, and then you pull out the card for the person that you're reading for. You can read your own cards. I don't like reading for myself because do I do it? Oh yeah, I'm guilty of it. But the thing about reading for yourself, you're filled with your own stuff. You're filled with your own chatter. And when you read for strangers or for people that come for readings, um, you're doing readings on absolutely pure, untainted energy. Whereas if you're reading for yourself, you're reading on your inner chatter. And you may come out with readings that actually are filled with your own personal fears rather than accuracy of the situation. Or they may be a reading that talks about what you most desire, but that again is not exactly accurate. So that's my plug for the Mystical Shaman Oracle. I love it, love it, love it. It is one of my favorite cards, and I do not try to memorize it. It is a little like, excuse me, I Ching, um, or it's just a very spiritual, contemplative reading. But it never fails to absolutely bowl my clients over after their reading when I pull out where their soul spirit is. I'm going to go and um, to my room, and I'm going to find a meditation It seems like today there are no one seems to be looking for readings today. Today is the 21st, and there is nothing posted for the 21st. Do understand that I am honored if you listen to the show. Again, the number, if you want a fast reading, is 602 666 6027, and you're getting over 40 years reading experience. I'm going to play a meditation by my Hawaiian spirituality sister. Her name is Lana Kila, and I'm going to just do Living from the Heart.
Living from the Heart by Rick Jarrow. When we're envious of somebody, it's because they are mirroring a place in us that does not feel abundant. After all, if you feel abundant, if you are overflowing, the symptom of abundance is that anybody's success makes you joyous. If anybody's success makes you feel anything less than joyous, that is a symptom of scarcity. So, if we can resist being angry and focusing on the external and really look within ourselves, we may get very valuable information about what we need to do to make us feel better about ourselves. Now, I want to be very clear here. The energy of the heart center has to do with giving and receiving. That means it has to do with supporting others and receiving support from others. Supporting another person doesn't mean that you support their stupidity. It doesn't even mean that you support their behavior. If your kid comes to you and asks you for money to buy drugs, you don't support that behavior. But you can challenge that behavior without withdrawing your love. And this is absolutely critical. The heart center unites. The mind divides. You may not like what someone is doing. You may even be in a position where you have to reprimand, punish, or condemn someone for what they're doing. But that's very different from withdrawing your love energy from them, withdrawing your compassion from them. I heard a story that really touched me a while back. The Dalai Lama was performing the Kalachakra initiation, a great Tibetan Buddhist ceremony of empowerment in Dharamsala in India. In the middle of this very formal ritual, some Tibetan monks came running into the room screaming, crying that the Chinese had just murdered hundreds of Tibetan monks. The whole ceremony was disrupted. Everybody looked at the Dalai Lama. The Dalai Lama stopped the ceremony and said to the people, "Now we're all going to pray for the Chinese." And this may sound idealistic to you. This may sound impossible to do to you. But I invite you to think about it from the philosophical perspective of interdependency. From the philosophical perspective of karma, that if you hurt somebody, you will be hurt. You need to be prayed for. If a 4-year-old or a 3-year-old comes up to you and hits you, you don't get angry because you've expanded beyond that level of consciousness. This is what we're trying to achieve in the heart center. To have the compassion, to have the breadth, not to react, but to respond from a different level. And this will have everything to do with your prosperity in the world. Namaste.
That's right. Love my Lana. All right. She is an amazing um, master Reiki healer. She is a shaman and definitely all about Hawaiian spirituality. Before I leave, I wanted to talk to you about what exactly is divine essence. What is it? Well, as a psychic advisor, again, I find myself sputtering and wordless by really, truly spiritual people. I always somehow feel that perhaps they have something I don't have. And I'm not sure I why any of us do that, right? Why do we compare ourselves? But when you're talking about spirituality, it's about growth on your life path of spirituality, evolution. And if you're being an advisor, you're a lot like a teacher or a penny psychiatrist. And if you have a business, it's really important that you learn from those spiritual people that absolutely bowl you over. Sometimes I don't even realize that I have talked to someone like that, somebody that carries such divinity, such divine self, until I realize that I'm almost shaking at nighttime because I'm realizing they're waking something up in me. They've just woken something up. They're making me think. And I have to be careful that I remember divine self, divine people, people with divinity have a way of changing the consciousness of other people. You may know people like that. And I'm not talking about necessarily people that are in professional fields, but people that just have the capacity to make you, to open your eyes and see things in another way. I think when I speak to genuinely spiritual people, I feel like I come off so simple and that they have a truth that is almost godlike or over or just way over my head. But a lot of times I find that I relate to them so well. And oftentimes I can laugh with them because they're not trying to talk over me or make me feel small. They're usually very good at making me feel equal, helping me to laugh, and find the answers through guides and angels or my higher self. So, how do you find your divine self? Sometimes when we have problems in relationships because we lose the ability to just be with other people without comparing ourselves, or we start to become too complex and it makes us hard to be with because we're looking for answers in the tiniest of things. Just relax. Just Just be your authentic self. Just be real. You'll find that people really relate to you well and love you for who you are. You don't have to bowl people over. People may bowl you over. They may make you feel electrical by opening your eyes. But a truly spiritually divine person never tries to talk over your head. They talk equally with you. They laugh with you. They make you feel comfortable. Okay? That's the way I look at it. So I hope that you will have a beautiful week. I hope that you will remember how to clear your space and that you can purchase also a wonderful turkey feather shaman uh, sage distributor through the shaman market. That you need to get white sage from reputable companies like blessed by Native American tribes or Buddhists. And I wish you a beautiful week. Bye. Namaste.
AchieveRadio.com